Hola estudiantes, buenos días. Hoy es 2 de junio del 2020 y voy a explicar un poco más las diferentes partes y objetivos del proyecto. Okay? So, there is the final proposal, the final project that you have to do. And I'm going to walk you through, because there's a little confusion about how it's going to look like and how we are going to turn the work in and how we're going to do the presentation. So, as you know, this final project has two parts. Is the written part with the Google Doc with the different parts of the proposal, right? And then is the presentation part. So I want you to think about this as the process, similar process as the exhibition for the seniors, right? The seniors have to write first a 10-page paper defending whatever their topic that they chose, right? They write the paper, 10-page paper, and then they receive a grade for that. After they're done with the 10 grade paper, then the 10-page paper, then they go to the presentation, which is a different grade, right? And so they have to adapt that 10-page paper into a presentation form. Do they include every single thing they write on the paper, they say it on the presentation? No, because that would be very boring and dry for the audience. So they adapt and they highlight the main aspects and the important parts of the paper into a presentation mode. So this is what I want you to do, right? I'm going to go first with the presentation mode. Okay. So, writing process. What are the different parts and the work ethic and the routine for each part of it? You already started with the introduction. Let's see. Then I'm going to go into presentations, and then the expected oral presentation is going to be on June 12th, 15th, and 16th. I'm going to explain. So the writing process, right? We saw there was different parts because a proposal have to have different parts, right? It was an introduction that you worked yesterday, when is the description of the problem. ¿Sí? Identificación y descripción del problema basado en las experiencias personales de los estudiantes. So I said first, I want you to brainstorm each member based on their own personal experience and describe what is the problem and identify the problem and describe what is the problem. After each member has brainstormed each part, I want the group to unify and include everyone's ideas to make one introduction, one paragraph with an introduction that kind of reflects everyone's ideas. I want this to be the routine and the work ethic for every part of the project. Why? Because I want to make sure that everyone has a voice and everyone introduces their own ideas first. And once we see everyone's input, then we unify all of the ideas into a final paragraph for that section. Okay, so you work on the introduction. Today, what you're going to do is you're going to unify everyone's ideas from yesterday, creating a nice, complete introduction for your proposal, where you identify the problem and describe the problem considering everyone's ideas. Once you've done that, you're going to work on the second part, which is the rationale, justificación o racional. Visión, misión, propósito educativo y objetivos. So again, it's the same work ethic and routine as yesterday. I want every single member to brainstorm their own ideas and reasoning of what is the justification and rationale for this change. Basically, why are we doing this change, or why this change is necessary, and what are our objectives that we have for that change. Okay, you can include the philosophy behind it, and that's why you can include a vision and a mission for the school on remote learning, or a vision or mission for the school when we go back in September. Remember, there is always the two scenarios: the scenario where we stay at home and we need to continue with remote learning, or the scenario where we go back in September, right? So every member, I want to see on the Google Doc again every idea for each member, right? And then you will unify all of the ideas, creating one rationale with the purpose of the proposed change. So you put all the ideas together, and then you elaborate a rationale for your proposed change. This is the work for today. Then, after we're done with the rationale, is the implementation. Yes, preparation and planning process for how to implement that change, because that is very important, right? So, this says, describir el proceso y las fases del cambio, implementación del cambio según los diferentes escenarios. And here is more in depth how you're going to present this change in the two different scenarios that we have: remote learning, or if we are back in the building, right? How is this new normal, la nueva normalidad, look like with your proposed change? If you are focusing on communication between students and teachers, or students to students, how that should look like. If you are talking about implementation or the use of technology, how that should look like, okay? If you are focusing on healthy routine, how that should look like for both scenarios, A and B, okay? And then after that, we will have the conclusion with the intended benefits that will result from the proposed change. So after you do that, you describe those benefits, or list of those benefits, and then it will be your closing statements. This is the process for the writing. These are all the parts I want to see, always with the same work ethic, where everybody inputs their own ideas, and then we unify everybody's ideas in one part for that section. Okay, so this is the routine of work for the paper. After we're done with the paper, right, and you received a grade for the paper, and you make sure that you also include all the grammar requirements, which is basically showing control of the grammar and navigation of the tenses that you've learned, then we are going to go ahead and prepare for the presentations. Okay, presentations. Now, okay, you have your paper, you got a good grade on the paper. How you are going to adapt that to create a nice presentation for your audience that is going to be right here on Google Meets with your panel of students and your teacher. So as we said, the presentation is going to be 8-10 minutes total, not for each member of the group, but for the entire group. 8 to 10 minutes. You should be dividing equally the participation for everyone. So everybody should be talking about the same time. You have 4 people, it's about 3 minutes, between 2 and 3 minutes each person, okay? Then are you gonna just talk to us? Well, that would be very very difficult to follow if we don't have a reference material from you, right? Like the seniors do. They just don't talk, they show something where we can see the proposal and the changes that you're talking about, right? So what is that reference material? It could be a Prezi, it could be a PowerPoint, or it could be any other thing that you want to show when is your presentation. So I'm thinking that if your group is presenting on Google Meets with an audience, so one member of the group is sharing the screen, and then everybody's referring to that PowerPoint or that reference material to go along with the presentation, which means you need to prepare the presentation in advance, obviously, because you're not reading off the slides, right? Again, the presentation will be as an outline, helping you, we did this before, with bullet points where I don't want complete sentences and I don't want conjugated verbs. So you either use nouns only and you use bullet points, not complete sentences. Again, the presentation is a guide to help us, the audience, to follow and to help you also to go along. So, do you have to memorize your paper word by word? Absolutely not. You have to adapt your paper to a presentation. All right. So the presentations will be in Google Meets. It will be live, not pre-recorded. We will all meet. I will let you know. As I said, those presentations are for June 12th, June 15th, and June 16th. So I will schedule different people at different times on those days, and we'll all meet here, and then the presenters will go, and then we also we can ask questions about that at the end. Okay, so with all of this, don't forget also to have fun, disfrutar in the process, en el proceso, okay? I hope this is a little bit more clear. Please join office hours if you need clarification on more things. Use the forum and follow, please, the directions and the instructions for each part. I need to see everybody's thought process on this. Okay. Okay, so you can go ahead today and work on unifying that introduction and then do your brainstorming for your rationale and justification, which is the second part for today. All right. Adiós. Que lo disfruten.